guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my 1 month fitness update slash life update slash IVF process update. We're gonna go over a lot in this video. 1 month ago, I posted a video talking about how I was coming off of 2 very traumatic, horrible back-to-back miscarriages, and instead of diving right back into trying for baby number 2, I was going to take a break. And while we were getting ready to prep for IVF, I was going to just focus on my health and my fitness and losing a little bit of weight and getting back to my pre-baby number 1 weight. I have spent a month working on myself. I did have 4 main goals that I set out in that first video. I'll link the video below if you missed it, but the 4 goals were to drink 100 ounces of water a day, which that I did do. In fact, I was struggling with it at the beginning, so I actually did a 1-week gallon of water a day challenge in order to kind of up my water so much that when I went back to 100 ounces, it would feel doable. And that totally worked. If you missed that video, I will link that below as well. But overall, I did well with that goal. I'm happy with it. I feel more hydrated than I did a month ago. I do have a fit scale. I'm gonna link it. A lot of people asked about it. Even though I had it linked in the previous video, it's a fit track and it's wonderful. It actually tells you all your stats. It tells you your muscle percentage, your fat percentage, your water hydration percentage. It's great. So I actually could see my hydration percentage increasing throughout the month, which was really cool because I knew that it wasn't just drinking a bunch of water and it was just going right through me. It was actually hydrating my cells over time. I still on the scale of the normal range of hydration for women my age, I'm still on the low end, but I'm not on the very edge, which is where I was. I was on the borderline of very, very low normal slash actually really, really dehydrated. So now I'm a little bit up. So I'm gonna keep working on that. But that goal I was happy with. The second goal was to take my vitamins every single day, which I explained in that video. When I'm pregnant, that's never an issue because, I'm protecting the baby. When I'm not pregnant, sometimes I forget. And I've been excellent with that as well. I've taken my vitamins every single day for the last 30 days. The next one was to lose 2 pounds a week for a total of roughly 6 to 8 pounds in the 30 days, because I know that sometimes you don't hit right at 2. I didn't want to stress myself out by saying it has to be 8 pounds. And I ended up losing 5. And I'm okay with that because of a couple of things. The biggest thing is I ended up taking an unexpected trip to Kingsport for my youngest sister's graduation. And that was a trip that we weren't sure we were going to end up making it to because of other obligations, but it did end up working out. And so we did have this unplanned trip in the middle of the month that totally threw off my calories in, calories out slash my walking. It just did not happen during that trip. And so when you look at the month as a whole and you look at the amount of days I was actually active on my plan versus the days that I wasn't, and then how much weight I lost, it actually was right on target. So I'm happy with it, even though it was less than I had hoped to lose this month. 5 pounds is a great start, and I don't want to be unrealistic with myself. I think that's something that people get trapped in. I'm actually going to talk about that more later on in the video, about this unrealistic trap that people put themselves in when they're trying a weight loss or a fitness journey. So I will get back to that. But my last goal of the week was to walk 30 minutes a day for all 30 days. And bless my heart, me a month ago, legitimately thinking that I was gonna be able to do that. No ma'am, I did not. It's sweet that I thought that I would walk 30 minutes a day every single day for 30 days. I don't know what kind of goal that was. And even sitting here now, I feel like it's a realistic sounding goal. When I'm thinking about what I want my next month's goals to be, that feels kind of realistic, aside from the fact that next month is totally different because we have so many travel plans. I'll get into it. But it just doesn't sound hard, but in reality it was. I think if I had done 4 to 5 days a week, it would have been a lot more realistic. There were days where I just didn't want to and didn't. And then there were days where I was actually really active outside of the house, days I was running errands or whatever, days I was doing room makeovers or videos or whatever it may be, where I was on my feet a lot during the day and definitely got the equivalent amount of walking in, but because it wasn't on my treadmill, in my mind it didn't count. And that's a mental block that I need to get over. That still counts. And I mentioned this in my Q&A. I did a little mini update on how the challenge was going, and someone gave me really good advice on that video. They said instead of doing a time that you want to do 30 minutes, why don't you do steps? That way, if you're outside of the house, you're running around doing errands, those steps still count towards your goal. And that made a lot of sense to me. So that might be something that I do instead of like doing it by time. I just feel like in my mind, 30 minutes is something that's doable, and walking is not hard. Although I will say that at the beginning, when I was like freshly out of my ectopic surgery, it actually was challenging to walk 30 minutes. I was speed walking, but it was hard. I just feel like towards the end of the month, the walking didn't feel challenging enough. So I was like inclining it a lot, and then I would my calves would be really sore, and then I would jog. It was this whole thing, okay? But overall, I would say that I failed on that portion of my challenge. I walked probably half of the days that I wanted to, and I do think that walking on my treadmill is going to be a way that I'm going to continue to get steps in if I change to more of like a steps-based goal for the day. I do really enjoy having an indoor treadmill. It does rain without warning a lot here, and also the temperature has been fluctuating a lot. It's been getting really, really hot, and then there have been some days where it's been really cold. So yes, a lot of people were like, why can't you just walk outside? I absolutely can walk outside, but it's so nice to have something inside that I can't use those excuses. I can't say, well, it's too hot out, it's too rainy, it's too cold. It's always there and it's available for you, get on the treadmill, you know? Now, one thing that I thought was really interesting is that while I did lose 5 pounds, my muscle mass actually increased, and I wasn't doing any sort of weightlifting. Literally, the only thing I added into my routine was walking on the treadmill. And I'm surprised that my muscle mass went up, because a lot of times when you're in a calorie deficit and you're not doing weight training, just walking, I wouldn't think would be creating muscle mass. Obviously, if you go from being completely sedentary to walking, it would, because walking uses your muscles. But I was surprised that my muscle mass went up, even being in a calorie deficit. And so one thing that's really important to help with that is to make sure that you're getting enough protein. Protein is not usually something I think about, especially if I'm not actively lifting my 3-pound weights or doing any sort of strength training or active muscle building. If I'm just doing cardio, it's just not something that I think about. I do eat meat, so I have a lot of salmon in my diet. I do tend to eat more peanut butter than I should, and I always look at peanut butter as a protein source, even though I am so sad to say that I'm having to cut peanut butter out of my diet, not because of a peanut allergy or anything like that, but because peanut butter is so high in calories that it's something that I'm not able to properly limit myself with. With pretty much everything else that exists, I can limit myself to a serving size of if I need to. But with peanut butter, I could sit there and eat spoonfuls of it and not be satisfied, want more and more of it. It's just one of those things that's just too addicting to me, where I just need to not have it for a while to kind of make it easier for myself. So I was starting to look at other ways that I can incorporate protein into my diet, especially knowing that my body is trying to build muscle right now as I'm doing this challenge. I did try to make the switch to almond butter. I've tried to switch to almond butter in the past. I know that it's better for you. I really don't like almond butter, so it's just not an alternative. I would rather not have anything at all than eat almond butter. I just don't really like it. And peanut butter is just so addicting to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I can't just eat a normal amount of it and be satisfied, but I can't. So I was actually thinking about protein and how to incorporate more protein into my diet when I actually got an email from a brand that has sponsored me for over a year. Absolutely love them. And they have a brand new product coming out, and it's a protein powder. And I was like, are you kidding me? Literally, protein powder and protein options were on my brain when I read this email. You know those moments where something will happen so coincidentally that you're convinced that Google or the internet can read your mind? That's how I felt in this moment. So Ritual is the vitamin that I take. I've taken it for over a year. I've taken both the prenatal and the regular version. They also make a bunch of other ones. I've done several videos on them. They're a great brand to work with. And it's been really easy for me to incorporate that into my habits and my lifestyle, and it just helps fill in the gaps of my diet. And I'm really excited to start incorporating the Ritual protein powder into my habits and my diet as well. This helps to support support maintenance of lean muscle mass, and promotes healthy, active aging for everyone, not just athletes. The Essential Protein 18 Plus contains all 9 essential amino acids, which helps to build lean muscle mass, satisfy your appetite, and it helps with your bone health. Each shake contains 20 grams of vegan pea protein. It's also soy-free, gluten-free, sugar-free, vegan-friendly, and formulated with non-GMO ingredients, just like all Ritual products. There's no artificial sweeteners. It's actually sweetened with a combination of fermented sugarcane and monk fruit. And it has a vanilla flavor that's handcrafted using direct from farmer vanilla bean extract, which is sustainably harvested in Madagascar. The protein that I picked is the 18 plus, but they also have the Essential Protein in 50 plus and also a pregnancy and postpartum version. Ritual is hooking you guys up. You can get 10% off your first 3 months with Ritual. You can use this on the vitamins and the protein powder by going to my link and using my code, which I will have in the info box below. Let me know what you guys think. If you haven't tried their vitamins, try them too, because like I said, I've been using them for over a year, and I really think if you do your research and you look at the ingredients in this protein and in the vitamins, you will not only learn a lot about all of the ingredients in here, but you'll see why this really is better than a lot of the alternatives. Thank you so much, Ritual, for sponsoring another video and introducing me to this new product, which is really helping me with my fitness goals, and it's just perfect for my life right now. So thank you, I appreciate it. So back to my challenge. Okay, so I have been building muscle, and that is great because muscle's obviously better than fat, and since I'm losing weight and building muscle, it's like getting 2 in 1, which is really great. So overall, I definitely did not come anywhere close to meeting my goal of walking 30 minutes every day for 30 days, but I still, overall did a pretty good job in the month. Being my first month really getting into this, I feel a lot better. I think part of that is just time removed from all of the stuff that happened at the beginning of the year. And I also think it's just, fueling my body with healthier foods, being a little bit more active, and just paying more attention to all of the things that I'm doing, being more intentional with what I'm eating, and being more intentional to be more active during the day. So I am going to continue this into the next month, but I am going to be realistic with myself and with you guys. I have 2 back-to-back trips lined up. The first one literally starts tomorrow. We leave tomorrow, and then we're back in Nashville for about 5 days, and then we leave again for a 10-day trip. So I'm going to be gone more in this next month than I usually am, and I find that when I'm traveling, when I'm outside of my routine, or even when I'm at home, but my routine is just really shaken up, it's not very normal, it's very, very hard for me to stick with my fitness and diet plan. And I think that that is something that a lot of people struggle with. And this is what I was kind of mentioning earlier in the video. I feel like people go into fitness and weight loss challenges thinking that as long as they put their mind to it, they can do it. And that is true. But I think that it's very, very hard for that to be your priority when you have so many other priorities in your life. For me, I'm balancing being a good mom, being a good wife, keeping the house clean, keeping the house organized, continuing decorating things. We're still getting our house put together, keeping up with both of my jobs, both YouTube and my sticker shop. My sticker shop definitely takes up more hours in the week. And then on top of all of that, to make time to work out and to eat healthy. Obviously, eating healthy is more work and more time consuming than just ordering in something that's less healthy and quicker. And so it's just that I feel like I can balance it in my everyday life, which is balancing everything that I just mentioned. I've been able to make it work even with having a job and having a kid. And a lot of people have that, and a lot of people have to make it work. But for me, the thing that blocks me is traveling. I feel very type A with it. If I can't have everything lined up exactly the way I need it to be, if I am traveling, if my food options are dictated by where we are, whether we're traveling, whether we're staying with other people, whether we're in a different city, if my workouts are dictated by, the gym equipment available to me, like in a hotel, or somebody else's schedule because you're traveling with a group, or whatever it is, it throws me off completely. And I think that my biggest goal for this next month, because I do have 2 trips, is just to be more intentional without trying to have these like hard set goals. Because if I have those hard goals, I'm not going to meet them, especially with how like type A I feel when it comes to fitness and weight loss. Like if I have goals and I don't do them to perfection, completion, I feel like I failed. And that is what I'm trying to tell myself with last month. Like, yes, you didn't walk every single day for 30 minutes like you said you were going to, but you still didn't fail. Like you still lost 5 pounds. You still feel better. Your muscle mass went up. Your hydration went up. Like a lot of good things happened. Like it was actually a successful month if you look at it as a whole. So I feel like when I'm traveling, I tend to kind of overindulge in food. I think everyone does that. I mean, you're going on a trip, you're going to do that. These aren't trips that are specifically like food indulging trips. Like I would say like going to Disney World is like you're going to eat a bunch of stuff. Going, you know, to some like fancy city, you're going to eat a bunch of stuff. Going on a cruise, you're going to eat a bunch of stuff. Our 2 trips are going to my family's house and then going to Alex's family's house. So there's going to be a lot of like home cooked meals. And so I think my goal is just to be more intentional, to just pay more attention to what I'm eating, to not eat everything unhealthy that I feel like eating, that maybe in times of my life where I'm not paying attention at all, I would have indulged way more. Just do like a little bit less than that, and that is going to be my goal. If I could lose another 5 pounds this month, that would be incredible, but I really don't think I will, just based on the trips that we have planned and based on how I know this typically goes. I just don't want to disappoint myself and then make myself like less encouraged to continue this past this coming month. With the trips, I've just been thinking about it a lot, and I'm like, it's just hard to go on trips when that's your block, when you're in the middle of like being really good and healthy with things, you know? But I'm just gonna do my best. That's all I can do. And then another thing that I thought I would do is a challenge that I saw. I cannot remember where I saw this. I don't know if it was on Instagram or if it was on a YouTube video, but it was actually, it might have been a comment on my video, but it's called the Do Something Every Day challenge. And instead of saying like, okay, you're gonna walk 30 minutes a day every day, or you're going to walk this many steps, or you're gonna do this or that, the idea is just to do something every day that's more than what you would have done. So it doesn't even have to be working out. In my mind, as long as it's something physical, and that even includes like meditating or stretching, just doing something extra each day, I think is going to be my goal. If I'm on a really healthy kick, a trip will throw it off. That was a very, very long fitness update. I also did want to give you guys an IVF process update because I did mention a month ago, and I think even before that, that we are starting the IVF process. Because I had an ectopic pregnancy with an emergency tube removal surgery, we've had to wait a minimum of 3 months past that surgery before we can do our egg retrieval. And it might even be longer than that. I know that we're definitely not doing the retrieval this coming cycle. It will be at the earliest the next cycle from that. Because we are still giving my body time to heal and giving us mentally a break from everything. And even though we considered bumping it up a cycle, with all of our trips coming up, it just would have been so stressful to do it like immediately after those trips. So we're just kind of trying to figure out what the best timing is. I will say that we have done all of our prereqs. Everything's done. So we are good to go. Literally, when we're ready, we can do it. And I am getting more and more nervous. I feel like I went into this process a little bit more naively with the timeline. I feel like I read, and I even feel like my doctor told me this when we were first talking about it, that it's 1 month of prep and then you can get right into your egg retrieval. And that has just not been the case for us. Even though we were already a patient of the clinic and therefore had a lot of the prereq testing already done, there's been just so much that we've had to do. We've had to get a bunch of tests done. We've had to wait for the results, wait for phone calls for this before we can do this, figure out the game plan. We've had to take an IVF class. We've had to do consent meetings. We had to decide what would happen to our embryos if we both died and like who would get custody of them. As of now, we are finally done with all of our prereqs. We have a medication protocol in place. And we have a game plan, which feels so good. Like all of our paperwork is done. Like we are set to go. When I am ready for my cycle, we will order the medication, and when my period starts, like, it's go time for egg retrieval. And I am getting more and more nervous about it because I think this whole time in my mind, it's been like, you're gonna do one retrieval and that will be it. And it's just that that's not the reality for a lot of people. A lot of people end up having to do more than one retrieval. In fact, I've read a lot that say that the first retrieval is kind of a trial run almost with the doctors, because a lot of times you do better during the second retrieval than the first. They watch how your body reacts to the different medications, and they can come up with a much stronger game plan during your second cycle, because it's so dependent on so many factors. And while they can make an educated guess based on their experience of what kinds of medications to put you on and what kind of protocol to put you on, they don't really know until they actually give you the medications and monitor you. So I've just been thinking about that. This process is so emotionally draining. Infertility is horrible. And people, I've said before that, like, until you experience it, you have no idea what people are going through. You cannot imagine it. It's just not something that you can put yourself in people's shoes. And I feel like IVF is also like that. You know, I've known people who have gone through IVF. I've had friends who have gone through IVF, and I always thought they were like super strong, and I never wanted to have to do that. I always felt very thankful that I was able to conceive James on our own and that he was healthy. I think that when you're able to get pregnant on your own, and especially if you're able to actually carry those pregnancies and they end up with babies, you don't realize how lucky you are. You might think you know how lucky you are. Like, you might say like, oh, I feel lucky, I'm so thankful that I don't have to go through that, but you really don't know it until it gets taken away. Like, I don't even have it as bad as a lot of people going through IVF, and I feel horrible about myself. If you are a fellow infertility or IVF mama, I feel for you. And if you have gone through it in the past and you know how I'm feeling, and you're on the other side of it holding your babies, I know you know how lucky you are, and I hope that I'll be there one day. Why am I crying? Like, I was so happy in the first half of this video, but I will be doing updates, as it goes. I'm gonna do probably a video on each part of the process, a video on the retrieval, a video on, we'll just have to see how it goes based on how my experience goes. But we are moving forward with everything. We've been getting all of our prereqs done, which has been a ton. I feel like I'm looking forward to the fall, because I'm looking forward to moving into that portion of our journey for our baby. And it feels nice to be taking an emotional break from it, but it's also like I'm looking forward to that next step and just like giving ourselves a fresh chance. And yeah, I feel very bittersweet about the whole thing, if you can't tell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this life update video. Overall, even though I've cried in the last few minutes of this video, I'm actually feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a lot more hopeful. I'm definitely feeling more scared over the IVF process, but just in general, I feel like I'm in a better place mentally, definitely than I did a month ago. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you again, Ritual, for partnering with me on this video. Definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave me a comment below. I read all of them, and I will see you guys with my next video. Goodbye.